Greetings, Matt comrades. It is your humble DM, Mike Gergoni, here to let you know that we here at Material Components are now part of the Punch Up Entertainment Network. Punch Up is proud to present such podcasts as Panel Up, The Action Shelf, and the very podcast you're listening to right now. And of course, the best way to support all of these shows is by going to patron.podbean.com/punchup and becoming a patron today. When you do, you'll get access to all sorts of bonus content, including a brand new one-shot from the folks here at Material Components, in which our heroes attempt to solve a murder in the urban fantasy streets beyond the Veil. If you ever wanted to hear Michael Listman playing as Detective Sasquatch, now's your chance. Once again, that's patron.podbean.com/punchup. Thanks for all the support, and now, let's get you into this week's episode. Material Components, Season 2, Episode 71, Editor's Note. Greetings and welcome to Material Components, the actual play RPG show all about a galaxy of magic and the adventurers who live there, now on the Punch Up Entertainment Network. I am your humble dragon master, Mike Gergoni, and joining me, as always, are my stalwart adventurers. Hey adventurers, thanks for being here.
Heck yeah.
You're welcome.
What's up?
Aloha.
Vibes.
Oh my gosh, it's me. Hey everybody. We've only been doing this for like 4 years.
Almost 3 years. Yeah, is it 4?
4.
It's 4.
Really?
Time, man.
Damn, Olivia,
Jeez.
4 years.
Anyway, 4 years. Maybe someday I'll get it. But until then, I'm Olivia, and I will be playing Florian of Akalar.
I'm Elliot, and I am playing Shay, the Elven Wizard.
I am Olivia. Oh, wait, no.
So this is
Okay,
Thursday
this has been
energy.
longer than 4
Interesting.
years.
Yeah.
That you've not been Olivia.
I am, who am I? What a question. No, I'm Michael, the other Michael, on the podcast, and I am Oswald with some other names.
I don't even want to answer, but hi, y'all. I'm Reed, and I'll be playing Amari. Wowzers.
Whew.
Rough.
Indeed. And of course, before we begin today's session, I have to ask the same question I ask every time, and that is, Michael Listman, do you remember what happened last time?
Well, I don't remember my own name, so let's say
bad
yes.
start, I'm going to say.
We had a big fight. I mean, technically, we started the fight before last session, but we are being attacked by a bunch of bounty hunters from various sources. I think 2. There's 2 ships. So when last session started, we had a bunch of baddies on the ship in the cockpit. I had already taken out 3 or whatever, so we still had 2. One in a giant mech, and the other one with I think an assault rifle or something. It doesn't matter because they're taken care of at this point, you know. Shay was a ship, so Shay was involved in their own way. Florian became a monster, a void monster of some sort.
Don't know what you're talking about. It was totally normal the whole time.
Amari punched Florian so hard that Florian went out cold. So there's that. I was nearly killed by Amari's wife, but then apparently she made the executive decision to spare this pathetic thing throwing up on the ground in front of her. Mara was nowhere to be. Well, Mara has not been checked on yet after being hacked or something in some way. We haven't really looked into that. And then my body woke up and started talking because I think somebody is piloting me, much like Amari pilots Tux. Coincidence? I think not. Anyways, let's get started with this.
Little meat mech.
Indeed. Yes, when we last left our heroes, they had successfully defeated an incursion of bounty hunter types who had invaded the Tiresian, and Amari had punched the monster right out of Florian, and Oswald had woken up not quite himself. And there is certainly a small, erudite birdman up and about, dusting himself off in the cargo bay of the Tiresian. But there is another Oswald Octavian Theophilus, the question mark. And he is not present in the cargo hold of the Tiresian. He is not even really anywhere that he recognizes or can really register as a place per se. He is conscious. He is aware and perceiving, he thinks. There is sensation. And he is wiggling his toes on what feels like a broad slab of paving stone beneath his feet. Some kind of flagstone worn by time and use. He does not see, because there is nothing to see, but he is aware. He can feel his extremities. He can move his head from side to side, but it is all shadow, darkness. There is a curious sensation all about him. This strange acknowledgement of distance between himself and something just beyond his capacity to reach. That feeling you get when you move about your house when it's totally black. You know where the furniture is. You know where it should be. You can almost sense it just beyond where you're touching. The walls of a hallway, so familiar in the daylight, not visible in the darkness, but you know for sure they are there. That is where you find yourself now, Oswald. In this strange, dark nowhere. And as you call out, your voice echoes in this place. Hello, 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 hello. Growing distant, and then it comes back to you. Hello, 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 hello. But from behind, it seems to echo.
I wonder if I... Well, this can't be death. This is not what death is like. At least, I don't think so. If I search my body, I have like the clothes that I was wearing, or I have the stuff that... Can I try to use a light feature on my spectacles? Just hit the button there. Does anything happen?
Yeah, and the aethite lenses light up with a bright light. What color is the light that Oswald puts off?
My first instinct is green, and I know that's a bad color, but you know, it's one of my favorites, so let's go with it.
Faint verdant light streams out from your eyes and illuminates this space in front of you. There's this dull forest green sheen that opens up in a cone just before you and reveals a long corridor. It's not a corridor. It's an aisle? An aisle with shelves to either side of you. Long, endless shelves that move off into the distance, and looking up, you can see stretch up into darkness where your light dwindles in shadow, and yet the shelves continue upward. There is no sign of a ceiling. Glancing around, you see that the shelves are full of books. Millions and millions of books. None of them a uniform size or disposition. Many of them have titled spines, and it's all written in the same precise serifed font. Everything here is written in the same hand, if it indeed is written. most likely they are printed in such ways. But the books themselves are not uniform in size, but they are uniform in script.
What language am I seeing on them?
Mid-Conic, the most common language in the Dragon's Wake galaxy.
And that seems to be pretty uniform.
100%, yes.
Books. Okay, gotcha. And these are those books Florian always talks about.
And the books have strange titles. They're more subject lines than titles. You see names, places, events, objects.
Interesting. I don't... Hello? I call out again. I guess just I'm going to move forward down the aisle.
Okay. When you call it the second time, your voice is muffled. There is no echo. It seems as though the sound is being stifled around you this time.
Interesting. Well...
As you move down the corridor, the bookshelves are spaced evenly to either side of you. Eventually you come to a break in the shelves, and looking to your left and to your right, you can see that there is a countless number of aisles in either direction. They seem to be broken very evenly, and the further aisles you see to your left and to your right stretch on into darkness.
Are the aisles labeled at all, or are they just endless aisles of just bookshelves?
Looking around and getting into this corridor, you can look up at the side of the shelf and see that there is a little brass plate at what would probably be eye level for most sapient species. Mm-hmm. It's an average, so you're looking up at it.
Yeah.
But it seems to be organized by date.
Oh, interesting. What date? The aisle that I found myself in, what is the date that is listed on that?
The date you can see is today's date down to the 2nd.
Oh. So the date that we had this fight on the ship is the date that's listed down to the 2nd in this aisle.
Right, and looking to your right, you can see that the next aisle over is the next 2nd.
Oh. That's interesting. Well, now I'm curious, and I'm going to go back into the aisle, and I'm going to look through the titles of books, looking for something that might catch my eye. I mean, I guess this aisle probably goes on seemingly forever, but or at least from my perspective it does. But yeah, can I just take a look and see? I don't even know what I'm looking for necessarily, but like, I guess maybe if I can find something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily know what to look for yet.
Okay. As you just peruse the shelf, again, it appears to be a random smattering. You see a name just leaps out at you. Mm-hmm. And it is a seemingly random. You have no idea who this person is or what their deal is, but it is a name that's Algaz of X3427. X4327 is apparently a mining colony, and Algaz is its administrator. The book is tiny, barely more than a pamphlet. And you open it, and it seems to have a brief section detailing this person's business dealings as they relate to a mining consortium at this location. And you immediately recognize this for what it is. This is an entry in the archive. It's brief, it's to the point, it probably has something bigger to do with the mining consortium, and this person just happens to be listed, and so it is just a tangential article.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a Wikipedia entry with 2 sentences.
Yeah. Can I try to access the archive in my spectacles.
And when you do, there is this kind of screeching feedback that feeds into your eyes, and everything kind of blurs and doubles for a second. And a voice says, "I wouldn't do that if I were you."
Huh? Hello? Is somebody there?
"Oh, sorry. We have you in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment. If you could just give us a few more moments, we will have everything set up."
Could you be a little bit more specific? Because I'm very confused. I was on a ship not too long ago, and I don't really know how I got here. Is this the archive?
"Yes."
Oh, so I must be in the metanet, probably, right? That would make sense. This would be an interesting way to, manifest the archive in a way that makes sense for those who are metadiving.
"Correct, though for the most part we do not allow people into the backroom infrastructure, as it were."
Oh, is that where I'm in?
You're not in the public terminal.
Oh, interesting. Well, I do apologize if I've intruded. I didn't mean to. Although I must say I have been a active member on the archive for a while. I'm an archivist.
Yes, Mr. Theophilus. Again, if you could just hold on a moment, we will be ready for you in just a bit.
Oh, good. And when you say we, what do you mean? Are you Well,
Myself and the other chief editors.
Oh, excellent. Right. Well,
introductions will be made shortly. Please feel free to peruse the shelves. Okay. We will be with you momentarily.
Right. And when you say momentarily, like, what specific amount of time are we talking? I just want to know, like, I don't want to get into an article that is really engaging and then, interrupt it halfway through. You know what I mean.
There's no response.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just pick something else then. I don't care about Algaz from X4327, although that would really freak him out if I went there and said his name out loud. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to myself because, I'm used to it at this point. And I think he continues to mutter to himself, and he just keeps perusing down this aisle, looking for things. I guess the first thing to look at is to look for information that either I have posted or information about like what happened before I blacked out, essentially.
Mm-hmm. It's what you would find is your own recordings as they were happening.
Oh.
They are marked as unedited and not posted. And in fact, as you start like scrolling through stuff here, you would find that the vast majority of the stuff on the shelves here has either not been edited or not been posted to the archive proper.
Hence the back room of the... Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm in the metanet, I guess. I don't know if that's a good thing. Well, I guess I could look... While I'm here, can I look for information on I'm trying to... Why can I not remember the name of our ship? The Tiresian. I just kept thinking the basically my own name, so Theophilus. But the Tiresian, is there anything about like the bounty on it, or?
Yeah, you don't exactly have a search function here, so you're just looking at like raw data. Yeah. And like it's not even raw data. It is submissions or things that might be submitted or things that are waiting for approval after having been submitted in chronological order down to the nanosecond once you're in the shelves here.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Of people from all over the galaxy submitting articles to the archive.
Oswald, you're like a millennial having to actually look things up in a library as opposed to being able to Google it.
Where's the search function? There must be at least a directory or something. I guess. Okay, I'm gonna leave the aisle, and so I can see, like, one direction is in the past, so then the other direction is in the future of the moment of this aisle, or like of this specific second. I guess. I'm going to run into the direction of the future as fast as I can, as far as I can before I get winded, and then randomly select an aisle. It's going to be like 2 minutes into the future, but
Yeah, and here's the funny thing about time. It just keeps going. So even as you were poking around in this aisle, seconds ticked by and more aisles were created. And so by the time you're making this decision and running a few minutes ahead, it looks as though this thing just stretches off into infinity. Maybe when you first got here, you suddenly hooked a right and started going towards the future, you might have been able to catch up. But even then, more seconds keep happening, more submissions from all over the galaxy, millions of people submitting to this coalescing of information just keeps going in a maddening stretch forever.
Oh, this is very strange. I mean...
And by the way, if you wanted to know the exact date of when all this is happening, I have a calendar that I've been using. It just is never really relevant.
Hasn't really come up, I mean, let's go for the date.
It is the 24th of Hymal in the year 4749, as the Empire reckons it.
How do you spell Hymal?
Hymahl.
So if I go out into the sort of the main aisle, it's just... Does there appear to be like maybe a more open space, or is it just shelves and shelves and shelves forever?
It's just shelves forever.
Well, I guess I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
And there's a polite cough from behind you.
Yes, hello? I turn around.
And you see standing just down the aisle from you, and the aisle terminates directly behind this figure in a door that wasn't there before.
Oh.
This figure is tall. Not like ogre or Taro tall, but definitely Steader tall.
Mm-hmm.
If there was some ancient society of accountants that mummified their dead, this is what they would probably look like.
Definitely.
He is gaunt, like unhealthy looking gaunt, with long spidery fingers that come out from a very well-fitting suit jacket that falls just a little past his wrist. He has sharp, almost angular features, and you know that if this is the metanet, a person can choose what they look like. Why anyone would choose to look like this is a little odd. He's got an axe for a chin. This, not literally, but just like it comes to a very sharp, clean edge with kind of a squared off bottom, a very prominent chin, some deep pitted eyes that have the pure black sclera of Steader with white pupils at their center. No hair to speak of, eyebrows, any hair on the head, all completely shaved clean. And when he speaks, it's with this sound of, if the dust in a bookstore could talk, it would sound like this person. And he says, "Mr. Theophilus, we're ready to meet you now."
Excellent. What is your name?
You may call me Loon Sutkeeve, the chief editor of the archive.
Do you mind spelling that for me? I'd like to know what I'm saying when I say it.
And even as you ask that, the name appears typed out in that same serif font on your spectacles in front of your eyes.
Oh, great.
And it's LLUNSUTKIV.
Great.
Lun Sutkiv.
Oh, a pleasure to make your acquaintance. For you already know my name, but this is exciting.
Yes, that is why we thought it appropriate to share our names with you in person.
Of course.
There was some discussion about anonymity, which we usually afford our editors, but things have become rather complicated, Mr. Theophilus.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear about that. Hopefully I can help.
Well, and he'll turn and he'll grab the handle of the door and open it away from you, so down the hallway, and rather than opening up into a long, endless hallway that was behind you, it opens up into a small room.
Okay.
And he will gesture with his long arms that kind of fall down below his waist, his hands nearly at the same level as his knees.
Yeah, I mean, I go in. I have no reason to distrust this man.
He has this somber expression as you move past, and as you walk in, you see that this room is fairly dark, but it is lit by a flickering screen on one side, just to your left as you enter, and it appears like a projection, but you don't see any source of projector that would make this like flickering light appear on the wall there. But as you glance at this screen, you are immediately struck by a window out of the eyeballs of Oswald Octavian Theophilus III.
Oh.
You see your companions. You see Amari directly in front of the screen, kind of holding a hand out as whatever is driving your body picks itself up and wipes itself down and glances around as Amari turns and moves towards the unconscious form of Florian on the ground. You see a tall cat man that you don't recognize carrying the limp body of Shay out and up a flight of stairs. And you see two unarmed Midrians on their knees off to one side being covered by a female Leon you don't recognize holding a gun to them. And Amari is moving towards a ruined crate where he is securing some zip ties, it looks like. And you see all of this happening from a first-person perspective projected onto the wall of this small room happening to your left as you are ushered in by Mr. Sutkiv. He gestures towards the center of the room where just a moment ago you could have sworn there was nothing there, but now there is a table and a chair.
Oh, well, yes. He goes and sits down.
And as you sit down across the table, you are pointed directly at that perspective of something looking out through. You are almost sure it's your eyes. The snout you can see coming out from just at the bottom of the vision being projected here. And you can hear a voice. It's muffled and low, but it says, "Oh, yes, doing fine, thank you." And it is a pretty good impression of you.
Is that happening right now? Is there somebody in my body at the moment?
The door, you hear click, and you look as you see Mr. Sutkiv moving into the room. There's no door behind him. This room is completely apertureless and square. He will move around the table and draw out a chair that wasn't there before and sit down so his back is to the projection, and you kind of have to look at him and past him to see that perspective out of your Oswald's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And he will say, "Yes, this is happening in real time. We've collected enough data at this point we can make an accurate simulacrum."
But may I inquire as to why Well, I guess why? What is going on? Why? What is going on?
Yes. Well, we must get to the point. We don't have much time. The simulacrum will do in a pinch, but they don't hold up to much scrutiny. Any complex conversations that your companions might have with it would reveal the artifice.
I think it'll last longer than you might estimate. I have a theory on this.
And even as you say that, there is this kind of glancing around from the point of view inside the deck of the Teresian as you watch Amari, having made sure that Oswald is okay, now moves away and seems to be ignoring him for tying up the prisoners. And there's a conversation that's being had between Layla and Amari that Oswald is overhearing. And there's a brief back and forth about what to do with these prisoners. And Layla, this female Leon, who you're now taking to be Amari's wife.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, right. Well,
we did see her. We did poke our little sneaks
briefly
out at the
yeah.
But there were a few female Leons on that landing platform when you first landed.
That's true. Several matriarchs.
But she is... they're having some conversation about a plan that you're not aware of. But otherwise, they're basically ignoring Oswald. Or at least they're unconcerned with his presence.
All right.
And you see the eyes swivel away and start to wander up the stairs onto the upper deck of the Tiresian. Mr. Sutkeeve will say,
Joining us in this session, we have Miss Hastina Carconia, Mr. Dorn, and the Yellow Sun over Darkened Theater. They can hear and see everything happening here, but they... I will be speaking for them in this interaction. They are all editors of the archive, hold our highest esteem, and are aware of your situation.
Well, that's good. I'm not fully aware of our situation, so...
Yes, Mr. Theophilus, we've been monitoring you quite closely since the events at Seawell.
Oh, okay. Well, that's... I guess I don't know if that's a good thing. It's been mostly trouble so far.
Yes, trouble indeed. If I could direct your attention over here,
and he will point to your right, his left, and another screen will appear on the blank wall over there, and you can see another first-person perspective from your own eyes. Mm-hmm. The recording of you stumbling onto the Zealot Trooper armor on that balcony on the Seawell Hotel, the Five Flames Casino and Resort.
Yes.
And he will pull out what looks like a small, remote, the kind of thing you would use during a projector presentation. And obviously that is merely to illustrate a point in this place, but regardless, he will kind of tap a button on it, and it will reveal a bunch of numbers around the outside of the screen, near the bottom and near the top. You can see the runtime, you can see the precise encoding data that was used when it was uploaded to the archive. You can also see a viewer count. That number keeps going up, but it is rapidly passing 1 billion.
Oh, wow.
Yes, well, that is certainly where this conversation needs to start, Mr. Theophilus. As you can see, this is one of the most viewed documents we have on the archive in the last few months. The only thing that beats it is that video that went around of the 3 little owlbear cubs that got into that garbage can full of clown makeup.
I mean, this is very good. I've seen it many times.
We've never seen numbers like that before, and I don't think we will again.
Right. Yes. Well, we can all dream, we can all hope.
Right place, right time.
I suppose so, yes. Perhaps there is some sort of greater power up there, or wherever, who knows.
But leastways, we have had several interested parties attempting to conduct a breach of contract here at the archive over the last month regarding this discovery of yours.
Breach of contract. As in, I performed the breach of contract, is that, or...
There are some that would claim that the producing of this content breaches certain national security clauses that have been set up by individual states throughout the Dragon's Wake, not least of which is the Karnas Empire, the Rosset Hegemony, the Coalition of Freeholds, as well as several notable outer kingdoms in the Seawell region.
Right, that does track, yeah.
Now, we here at the archive have a strict, very strict, code of conduct when it comes to our anonymity. We believe that the information shared on the archive should be done free of prejudice and fear of those who would report it.
Yes.
That is becoming very difficult in regards to this particular piece.
I see. So you are saying that I am, through my video, and through the video, me, am becoming renowned, perhaps? Or, what's the word? Notable, at the very least. Right?
No, quite the opposite.
The opposite? What do you mean?
Well, we're hoping to keep it that way.
Anonymous, right. Okay, yes, of course. That's makes sense. Safety and all that.
Yes. Now, there are several broader news organizations that would also like to contact you. We've been screening these messages for the most part. But we wanted to let you know now because things are obviously taking a bit of a turn. Your involvement with the hegemony specifically has become... problematic is not the correct term, but it is certainly opening us up to certain liabilities that we need to address.
Yes, yes, on Seawell I may have admitted to something that was not totally true, but it kept me safe in the moment. A bit of a bluff. Perhaps that is what you're speaking of. I know that my Captain Amari is involved in the hegemony. I have not had direct dealings with them necessarily.
We are not... I'm not exactly sure what you are talking about in terms of bluffing on Seawell. Whatever that was, I do not believe you were recording during that, whatever that interaction was.
I don't think so.
Then we would have no record of it.
Oh, well, then forget I ever said anything.
Very well.
And there's a brief moment and there's a stutter in the image in front of you.
We're here to discuss this,
And he'll tap the little clicker again, and a image will appear to your left, his right, and while the live feed is still happening behind him, you will see it start where the live feed currently is, which is moving through the mess right now towards Oswald's quarters. And there is a brief moment in which you see Vesnis Rosette kind of like shakily picking herself up and moving towards Oswald and asking if everything's okay. And that voice coming out of you going, "Oh, yes, everything's fine."
Pretty good, honestly. Yeah, it's quite good.
but you see it rewind from that point and moving backwards until it goes black, and then the eyes open again briefly, and you see standing over Oswald as he is resting in a puddle of his own sick is Layla Rarakasa with a charged sidearm, holding it at full charge, pointed down at Oswald, and there's a brief moment in which it very much looks like she's going to shoot you.
Oh. Huh.
The liabilities of which I spoke are very evident to certain matriarchs within the hegemony as well.
Yes, I suppose I didn't think about that.
But that is not the most important thing we are here to discuss today, because rest assured the Archive will hold your identity in safekeeping regardless of what powers seek it out, so long as that is still your wish.
Yes, I think so.
Excellent. No, instead, more importantly, in fact, we are here to discuss this, and he will tap the remote again, and the image to your left, which starts now on Layla pointing a gun at you, will rewind further until you see this, like, quick shot of the can being forced towards your muzzle and coming back down, but then it will freeze on the image of this shadow-warped Taro, Florian, in all of his monstrous glory. This shadow beast wreathed in black and green veins that seem to erupt from different points on his body where once he took very serious wounds. These howling eyes of emerald coming out of an otherwise darkness-drenched skull. It looks like something out of a bad monster movie.
What am I looking at?
You are looking at a late-stage darkling.
Late-stage darkling. For some reason I don't recall that point in the fight was a bit of a blur for me, but it's a bit of a gap. I don't remember seeing this thing.
Yes, we have certain filters that might be able to help with that, and he'll press a couple of buttons, and, like, little wipes of color will adjust on the screen until finally you can see Florian at the center of this kind of vague outline of black, and those green veins are kind of coming out of parts of his body and seem to support the superstructure of darkness that is around his body.
Florian, my friend, what has happened?
You may have the scientific discovery of the century on your hands, my friend.
Oh. Okay. All right.
A creature such as this has never been held in captivity successfully.
Oh, okay. Calling it a creature is I mean, that is my friend. That is Florian.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Mr. Theophilus. Your friend is well and truly gone. What remains is being propped up by void essence, material we don't quite understand, that has been perpetuated in this mortal shell that has been ambling around, pretending to be your friend. But there is no cure for this. The disease is more the person now than anything. Or at least that's what we believe. You see, darklings, void spawn, demi-jotun, they're sometimes called, they tend to die violent deaths. And those around them usually share the same fate. We don't know what it is about the person you once called a friend. Something about their biology somehow contained this essence. And this is a phenomenal discovery. Scholars on the subject have tried many, many times to capture a specimen whole and alive, but even with Cogrish technology lacking any sort of etheric structure, these creatures are impossibly difficult to contain. But somehow what remains of your friend has somehow kept it contained. We don't know how this is possible. Those on the call as well are other experts in this particular field. But I personally have spent quite a bit of time studying transvoid physics and xenovoid biology, though that is it's a fringe science at best. It's not as though I'm teaching in the College of Yagrosh on this subject. As you can imagine, studying things that originate from the void has its own set of problems.
And you are 100% certain that Florian is not... I mean, you know this? You just said that very little is known about these things. How can we be certain?
There has never been a recorded case of a darkling transformation that has been stopped. Never. Mostly it is not even a transformation. Darklings appear occasionally on ships that are unsafely shielded from void entities. Some call them Jotun, some call them Shadow Leviathans. There are many names across many cultures, but regardless, those things which dwell in the void leave deposits, spawn offspring. We don't actually know. This is one that has overtaken a biological host, which is something that has been recorded before, but the host is usually dead within moments. We're not sure what it is about your friend that has allowed it to perpetuate in this way.
And he will click the remote and it will fast forward, and it's back to the part just before the eyes of Oswald have picked themselves up with Amari's help, and you can see the unconscious form of Florian in the background still breathing. And Mr. Sutkiv will say, the fact that what's left of your friend is still alive after this situation is an incredible opportunity. If we can isolate what's left and contain it until it can be studied, the advances in understanding the void, in maintaining safe practices during space travel, could be astronomical. This could change the galaxy, Mr. Theophilus.
Right. Yes, I suppose it could.
And you discovered it.
Yes, I suppose I did. I discovered something very important. Yes. No, this is... Well, it's complicated. Yeah, I mean... Florian... But you're right, this could make a big difference. This could help citizens across the Dragon's Wake. This could be almost as important as negotiating the peace at the end of the war.
This could revolutionize interplanetary travel from here into the unknown future. This could change how we observe the void and space travel as a whole. This could change everything. Wars come and go. Wars will always come back around. But the advancement of all spaceflight in the galaxy?
Yes. Oh, this is big. This is very big. All right, okay. Well, So I suppose what now? What is the next step?
As you ask that, you can see behind his shoulders the whatever it is driving Oswald's body come to a stop up at the bridge as you see a large Catman settling Shay's body down into the pilot's chair, and you see that Shay's limp body suddenly jerks and gasps and begins ambulating of its own accord. And Mr. Sutkeev will say,
We have scarce little resources to immediately aid in some kind of retrieval process, but if you could ensure that the subject is kept contained and isolated, we could put you into contact with individuals who would be able to transport the subject to a secure research facility.
Right.
And of course, you will be compensated for your efforts. We will be able to ensure that your name is put on any research papers going forward about discoveries pertaining to this subject, and this could change a great many things, Mr. Theophilus.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. I have so many questions. One, is there... Oh, well, actually, really quick question for Mike. When I saw Florian's unconscious body, did it look like Florian or did it look like this monster?
it looked like Florian.
Okay. I have... Well... I am not an expert in xenobiology or what you said, transvoid physics. I've read a few articles on the archive, of course, but it's hardly a doctorate or whatever the equivalent is in those fields. But if what you said is true, this is unprecedented. So we cannot rule anything out. Therefore, it is very difficult for me to rule out that my friend is not still in there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
And as you say, not still in there, and glance behind the shoulder of Mr. Sutkeev, you see as Shay is doing something at the controls and seems to be talking over their shoulder at the large Catman with the crystal sword. There's some kind of frantic exchange happening, and there's this look of intense concentration on Shay's face. And you see, almost coming out of the stage left of Oswald's point of view, is a young-looking girl in a sundress walking onto the bridge and looking around, and gives a kind of like forlorn look at Shay, who doesn't seem to notice she's there, and will glance and tilt her head and look directly into Oswald's eyes. And so you see Mara, as she's walking like a transposed figure in like an augmented reality sense, getting closer, not quite lining up with the same perspective lines on the bridge, as her bare feet touch some plane that isn't there and move towards Oswald's quote-unquote perspective until she is sitting, her feet dangling into the room you're in, kind of leaning out of the projected image on the wall, and her head kind of like leans out, and she's looking around as her feet dangle from like the black rim just beneath Oswald's eye where his snout is.
Oh. Mara, can you hear me?
And she will glance
at you and nod and say, "Of course, Oswald."
Such a lovely girl. Yes. Hello.
Mr. Sutkeev will, sit up and look around, and he seems to not see Mara.
Oh.
And he'll turn back to you and say,
"Who are you talking to?"
Oh. I thought I saw someone. But what do you see on the monitor?
and those black setter eyes will focus towards you, and his brow will furrow, and you see these creased wrinkles kind of flatten out on his brow above his hairless eyebrows, and he'll flick the eyes over his shoulder towards Mara. They will just sweep over where she is and take in the scene of the bridge with it looks as though Shay is furiously trying to do something. You're not quite sure what. It's etherics are involved.
Yeah.
She's wildly flicking through holographic systems data. He will then turn and look back to you and ask,
"Am I supposed to see something?"
I just don't necessarily... There's a lot I don't understand about what's happening right now.
This is a metanet projection. You are metadiving at the moment.
Right.
The strain on your implants may be causing some kind of oral or visual errors at the moment.
Yes.
That is normal if you're not hooked up to a diving rig.
Right, yes. Not something I've done a lot of. I'm still getting used to. I've had some strange experiences in the past doing this. I apologize.
and Mara will kind of hop down out of the projection and begin curiously looking around the room.
Huh. Right. Well, sorry. As I was saying, what is happening with Florian, as you said, is unprecedented, and therefore we do not know all the factors, and therefore I refuse to rule out the fact that that they have passed. I suppose I need to see it for myself. I need to know for myself. But...
That is absolutely fair.
Yes. But, yes, I think that... my other question is, let's say we proceed. What is the timeline we're looking at for this?
We know you're currently on a hegemony world near end. If you can find your way to an outer kingdom or an unincorporated world, something that is not overseen by any of the larger governments that we discussed earlier, that would be optimal for retrieval.
Right. And this could be... I don't know how much you know about me.
Quite a bit.
Right. Well, I don't mean to seem impatient, but... Well, I am on a bit of a timeline when it comes to this kind of thing, and granted, only a matter of moments ago, I didn't think I would have any shot in whatever there is out there to... Well, this is just a great opportunity, and I want to make sure that it will happen within a designated amount of time for reasons.
Of course. Well, we would hope to expedite this as well.
Right.
And we hope that with your cooperation, we can make this as painless as possible for everyone involved.
Right. Okay.
And as he says that, Mara is kind of like tilting her head to the side and watching him talk from behind him. And she'll say, "He's the one who's been using the back door that you left open."
I sort of like give her a sideways glance.
Interesting. And she'll like lift up a finger and touch the back of his coat, and suddenly the image shifts. And it's still this long, gaunt figure, but the skin tightens around the skull and around the hands, and the fingers become longer, and they seem to be extended by etheric implants that make them almost claw-like in appearance. The face becomes more skull-like, the eyes sunken and black, but with the white dot pupils that glimmer with some kind of crystalline light at their center. And the chin is this jagged point that comes down almost a literal blade. This is a corpse being kept alive by etherics. And he will say, still in that same, like, well-mannered accountancy voice,
"We're only trying to do what is best for the galaxy moving forward."
Right. Yes. That's knowledge is power, and well, this could save a lot of lives, as you said.
"Yes, indeed,"
says the corpse.
He just trying to just smile and nod as if he's not seeing something truly horrific standing in front of him.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even standing, it is gently floating behind the table. It's no longer sitting. There's no contact on the ground. It's wearing these long, dark purple and black robes. And there is this emblazoned sigil resting at a shoulder of crimson and silver. And it is two dragons intertwined in each other, almost making an infinity symbol, and with an Ouroboros of dragons wrapped around each other. And that is the crest of the Imperial House of Canis.
Mm-hmm.
And he says,
"If you could direct your crew in the direction of a planet such as that, hopefully we could have this sorted out within a turn or two."
Great. Yes, that's yes, great. Good. Sooner the better, Yeah.
Yes. And of course, we will be keeping an eye on you via your implants. If things turn badly, you can always call out for help, and we will try to get aid to you as quickly as possible.
It's good. Thank you for that. It's nice to feel supported, by...
We at the Archive have our reporters' and editors' best interests at heart. We are looking to spread information and knowledge to the galaxy. That is our utmost concern.
Yes, of course.
The petty squabbles of governments and those that might try to slow our progress in this matter, we need to support each other.
Yes. Petty squabbles of governments, every single one of them.
And he tilts his head, and there's this horrible cracking sound as the vertebrae slide into each other. There's no wet meat to stop bone from grinding on bone. And he will say,
"You're right, Mr. Theophilus. You look rather shaken."
Well, I briefly, a while back there, thought I died, and then woke up in this place, and basically found out moments ago that I have discovered something truly magnificent and galaxy-changing, and I mean, it's just a lot to take in. I'm...
Understandable.
Yes.
Moments like this come once in a lifetime.
Yes. Yes, I suppose they do.
We will return you to your physical presence now. Remember, if you keep your implants on. We'll be able to be in contact with you and observe anything you observe if you find anything of interest with the subject.
Great.
But be warned, the darkling inside of it is voracious. It will do and say anything to keep the flow of aether coming.
Understood.
I wish you the best of luck, and we will be in touch soon, I'm sure.
Yes, we will. Thank you. This is a pleasure meeting you finally, and it's good to know that my hard work is being noticed.
Very much noticed. I will give the other editors your regards.
And Mara will say, "No one else is listening."
I don't even know if I want. I like start to have the thought like that's what I imagined, but then I'm like, I don't even want to have that thought. So just don't think of anything.
There will be a momentary sense of vertigo.
Okay.
Try to grab something before you fall over when we return you.
Okay. I will do my best.
And Mara will whirl around and move back towards the point of view and crawl through your perspective out back onto the bridge. Shay.
That's me. Sorry, I thought I was muted. Oh, for the first time. I thought I was muted, so I didn't say anything. And I wasn't actually muted.
As you are desperately searching the ship's systems for Mara and finding nothing for a solid 5 minutes, it's as though she's just gone.
Where's my baby?
But then, as you are doing your 5th check through everything, her voice will come up through the console directly in front of you and say, "It's okay, I'm back now."
Mara! Oh, gods. Are you okay?
And behind you, Oswald falls over.
Oh!
What's wrong with him
God.
now?
I have to go to the restroom. Excuse me. And then I run away.
I cannot take any more stress today.
Amari, you have properly trussed up 2 Midrian soldiers. 1 mech pilot and 1 who needed to be pried out of a Raptor personal combat suit. These 2 are tied up and tossed into a corner of the cargo hold. They seem to be cooperating, and one of them basically slipped into unconsciousness due to shock.
That happens sometimes, you know?
Yeah, especially when Florian grabs them.
That happens sometimes, you know? You mess with the bowl.
What did you do with the unconscious Florian?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was curious. Did we ever establish if the isolation pod was large enough to fit Florian into? It is?
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
Cool.
It's just that we couldn't all get in there at the same time.
Okay. You couldn't have like a cuddle
without
puddle.
being real cuddle puddle.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, since no one's using it at the moment, Amari's best thought would be get Florian somehow in the isolation chamber. Maybe that's going to halt whatever is happening and prevent it from coming back at all.
Okay. So I'm going to say Layla stays down here to watch the prisoners. You get Paladin Rolly to come back down to the cargo hold and help you drag Florian up, because it is not a 1-cat operation. Mm-hmm. Time passes. The ships that were harrying the Tiresian are scared off by the security forces of Nirend. As this was made very publicly known, a matriarch was aboard this ship when Shay broadcast that over an open channel. Overwhelming force was shot up from planet side to chase off Red's dogs and the still circling ship of the other mercenaries. What you would find out later is that the 3 that were unceremoniously ejected from the cargo hold of the Tiresian had personal flight capabilities. Whatever suits they were wearing were capable of flying.
Great.
And they rendezvoused with their own personal spaceship and escaped. Waves of men belonging to Red's dogs were thrown at the defense forces to allow for Bartlett's bounty to escape.
Classy.
But many mercenaries died to accomplish that feat.
To accomplish retreat. Good. That's, yeah,
Yes.
Well done. Well done, Matt.
Your prisoners are taken in the name of Pride Rakasa.
Nice.
Layla's words about your involvement in this situation have a resounding effect on the immediate hierarchy. You've clearly uncovered some kind of imperial plot.
Okay.
She is incredibly insistent on that fact, as she tells you that's what happened here.
Mm-hmm.
The individuals you've captured are clearly imperial, even if they say they're not. They were wearing and using old imperial military tech. So, obviously, the plot you uncovered on Seawell provoked a response, and the Empire dared to strike at a hegemony world at the consort of a matriarch. That is what happened, according to Layla Rarakasa.
Oh.
Do you back her up?
Yeah. 100% yes.
Okay.
She's had my
causing
back.
Causing an intergalactic incident because I'm a wife guy. Jesus.
True.
I'm
wife
very
guy
much
shit.
not a wife guy. I don't know if you've been here for the last 2 years we've been doing this.
This political maneuver will cement Layla as somebody who is taken direct action against the Khanis Empire. While her own standing isn't that great, for the Empire to consider her an enemy immediately makes her more important. And so long as the hegemony is backing her, she has way more resources at her disposal if they think the Empire has made her an enemy.
Mm-hmm. The real question is it more common for matriarchs to establish themselves as enemies of the Empire just for political gain? Like, who isn't an enemy of the Empire?
True, but very few people have the evidence of some kind of weapon of mass destruction, arms-dealing plot to back up those claims.
That's fair. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Getting that new house. New house with the pool.
How can we sneak in our actual goals here?
It's the real question.
Because they're so close to aligning. And
So
yet...
close. Just a little bit of nudging, in the right
Just a little
direction.
bit of nudging.
Yeah.
Within the hour, the Tiresian has re-landed on a non-floating platform
Boo.
at a military base just
man.
north of the city. It was taken there under escort as like personal protection for the matriarch. And also the rest of you. Florian, it is about that time that you wake up in the isolation pod on the bridge of the Tiresian. You feel like absolute burning garbage. It is a hangover times 1,000. Your brain is aching. Your nerves are humming like you did too much caffeine. Your muscles ache, and every scar on your body itches.
Warren slap out. Can I just lay in this nice quiet chamber for a little bit? Just take a little breather.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is nice and quiet. Occasionally you hear the thump, thump, thump of somebody walking on the bridge nearby. But other than that, it's quiet, and you feel completely disconnected from the usual hum of etherics, that sixth sense that everybody has.
Eventually, when I've, just laid there for a second to get used to feeling like absolute shit, is this... Amari, did you secure this chamber? Is it locked?
It's
Or is it closed somehow?
yeah, it's closed just like a little bit. There's some bungee cords, just in case you roll around when you're sleeping. I don't want it tipping over or anything like that. Just for you. And there's a blanket over the top of the pod too.
It's in the ground. It's embedded in the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
then there's
like
some
a hole
flex
in it.
seal taping it down.
It's think of like a 60s or 70s like conversation pit that would be in like swanky houses, but with like a mostly opaque lid that would close over it, and you kind of get an idea of what this looks like.
So the perfect home. Got it.
So, once Florian realizes that he can't get out, how soundproofed is this chamber?
It's sound muffling. I wouldn't call it soundproof.
Okay, so whoever's on the bridge just hears the muffled sound of someone losing their goddamn shit as Florian begins to freak the fuck out.
See, this is why we don't put him in there for punishment, because then he thinks it's not safe.
You haven't crate trained Florian.
Vesnus from a nearby comm panel will say, I think he's awake.
Okay. This'll be fun.
Hey, here's a good question that is probably rhetorical for Reed. Did you explain at all why you have locked Florian in the isolation pod?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the rest of you all would have seen it, like, why.
Jaden.
And no. Hang on. Let me finish my sentence. Would have seen me put him in there, and then I would have explained it.
Okay.
All right,
Shay would still probably try to get him out.
You begin to hear the thuds of Florian attempting to punch through the isolation pod. I've gone all in, so I can't do much, but I don't know that because that's
I'll say
not a thing.
This is our current scenario. The mission at the moment is over. This isn't a downtime session just yet. That'll come later. But right now, Florian is trapped in the isolation pod. Amari and Shay are both on the bridge with Vesnus Roseki, your Calgarish companion. Kala is still nowhere to be seen. Layla has left with Paladin Rolly escorting the prisoners to the barracks or the brig of this military installation. Oswald, where are you at this moment?
Running to my room.
You've been there for a while then.
Yes.
Because this is like about an hour later.
I guess I'm just like, I don't know. I'm afraid to leave my room because I don't know when they're watching and when they're not. So I don't want to give anything away. So I'm just going to stay in my room.
Okay. So while this discussion is happening, just keep in mind that Oswald is not there.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Florian is thumping on the isolation dome to get out. And it's the two of you plus Vesnus on the bridge right now.
I mean,
Florian, are your comms working?
Get me the fuck out of here. Oh,
Isolation chamber. No etherics in or out.
Yeah, that's right.
You're so right. Yeah. I'll just edit myself out from that.
I mean, I put him in. Do you want me to go get him out?
Yes, I mean, like I am walking over to the pod. Like, as soon as Florian starts thumping on it, I'm like, Shay would probably know that you can't. Wouldn't be able to calm in there. I just forgot. So yeah, like immediately is walking over to open the pod.
Okay. You open the pod. It was, never meant to be locked from the outside. So Amari had to do some quick and dirty, like you said, maybe not quite bungee cords, but some equivalent there of just like, I put a really heavy thing on it. He might have been physically sitting on the lid.
Paladin Rolly and I have
But
been
once
playing cards for an hour, just sitting on top.
Right.
I go over and I push Amari over.
And I do.
But leastways, you get the lid open, and Florian looks like hell.
Hey, Florian.
Hey, buddy, you're all right.
I mean, I ain't. What? Why the fuck? And why did you punched me like real hard? What the fuck? I'm gonna give Amari a little shove.
No, that's fair. It's fair. Yeah, I don't know how to explain this. You weren't you.
Okay. That tells me absolutely nothing.
Okay, so
What?
when I
I
explain,
was me.
yeah,
What?
when I explain you were a large hulking
I helped
monster,
you subdue those guys, and then you punched me straight in the fucking face, man.
right? Okay, Shay, the floor is yours.
I'll kind of like whirl on Shay. Like,
Look, I just think you need to hear Amari out for a second. Amari, you could be a little more communicative. This isn't like a This isn't a super great time for like a dramatic moment.
I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm trying to put it into terms in which me explaining that they were a giant hulking monster isn't coming across as me calling someone a giant hulking monster. So now, okay, Florian.
yes, Amari?
Okay. Things happened, and your perceptions of what happened are not what happened for the rest of us.
What?
Just hang on. Something happened to you while we were fighting. Something dark and filled with void. You took on a sort of large, hulking, monstrous visage, and what you perceive to be nice and kind and helping me, you were crushing those individuals, squeezing the life out of them, something you wouldn't normally do.
Quick cue, just for Mike. Is that guy injured at all? Besides the psychological terror, besides the severe PTSD I gave him.
Amari, you would have seen him when he got pried out of the raptor suit.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Like, you know those scars people get when they're struck by lightning?
Mm-hmm.
It looked like that. Like the veins on parts of his body were highlighted and shining through the skin in some odd ways. And he just had this completely out of it look. Had to be taken away on a stretcher, essentially. Alive, clearly in shock, and messed up.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I literally wasn't though.
right.
So, wait. Monstrous visage? What? Big hulking monster? I mean, I know I went real fast.
Yeah. You had green void looking energy pulsing from wounds and giant shadows and stuff just pouring out of you. It was...
I'm gonna look at Shay and what's this guy talking about?
I mean, listen, I was in the ship. I couldn't see what was happening. But Amari wouldn't... why would he lie about something like this? Just to get a free punch in? It sounds a little...
asshole-ish? Yeah.
Yeah, like a bit uncharacteristic. But I mean, Layla was there and Rolly, and I mean the two from what Amari told me, the dude that you were gripping saw it, and the other guy saw it, and I don't know where Oswald was.
Vesnes will say, I was not there.
Do we have any
can't
sort
call
of
it was there
onboard
either.
cameras?
Nope.
Nope, good.
No. I mean,
No proof.
We do, but our onboard camera isn't here right now.
yeah.
Our onboard camera is bipedal.
What about this? Remember when Mr. Zinn and the Archproctor said things could happen because of the void?
Yeah, but I wasn't void mad. I wasn't being compelled to do anything.
What if it's beyond compulsion? Maybe you don't even realize it's happening.
But I wasn't like being controlled. I was me. I remember all of it.
Florian, did you take any aether from anything? I mean, we know that's why the void madness may have happened, so...
The mech, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much? Did you take a lot?
I mean, a mech's worth.
Which Amari and Shay would both know is a lot.
Mm-hmm. I mean...
But right, I was, attempting to shut it down.
Right, so... God. I mean, clearly you need to be either way more careful when you're leeching, or you may have to stop doing it.
But again, that's the thing. I wasn't void mad. It felt
But we know that the leeching has a
good.
connection to the void problems that you and Oswald and I have been having.
Florian, the problem is that you don't see what actually happened. And that's the void.
Or
What, the rest of us are all going void
Maybe.
mad, and the giant thing that almost killed two people, even though they were
we
attacking us?
we are all on this ship together a lot.
Okay.
I'm just saying, that sounds mighty weird and all, but... And, of course, I'm going to be careful. But I'm telling you guys, it wasn't void madness. It was maybe something else.
Well, if it's something else, then that's another problem entirely.
Vesnes will raise a hand.
Yeah,
Yes.
Vesnes, you don't have to
Yeah.
raise your hand.
Business.
I just did not want to say this out loud without somebody telling me to.
Okay, go ahead.
Does the insane person know they are insane?
I mean... No.
Before it was you lose time, yes?
Yeah. And felt compulsions, had hallucinations.
This time it wasn't compulsion, it was you that wanted to do the thing.
Yeah, but I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna crush this guy. I literally just held him against the wall for like a second. And it was like covered in a lot of void goop.
No, but
apparently.
again, that's
Like-
not what happened. Is you weren't just holding him against a wall for a second. You slammed him into a wall with enough force to pretty severely damage his body.
So then what do we do about it? I mean, the thing that keeps folk from going more void mad is not going into the void.
Or in your case, not leeching aether.
I can do that.
Okay.
That doesn't seem like a foolproof plan to me.
I did have some thoughts about it. Long story short, we may have access to some more resources soon. I was thinking about trying to convert one of the spare quarters into a somewhat larger version of a navigation pod, but without all the navigation bits in it. Just a larger version of what I've got, because, I mean, we can't put you and Oswald in there while I'm trying to get the ship somewhere. It's just not realistic, but I was thinking about trying to start on that to at least mitigate it while we're traveling.
Well, I mean, we're going to need to make repairs anyways while we're here.
Yeah.
Pretty slick how I flew the ship for like a second there.
Florian, the fact that it didn't just immediately explode is a fucking miracle.
There's no, like, switch on there that's just a make it explode switch. Come on.
And yet, the switches you flipped almost made it happen. Really impressive. In that way.
Carefree shrug was in character.
Vesnes will say, I could show you the combination of switch flips you would have to make the ship explode.
Do not do that.
Okay.
The crew we have assembled is a nightmare.
Don't cite the deep magics to me, witch. I was there when they were written. I know exactly how to blow this ship up. Don't patronize me.
Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be accomplished in the immediate moment?
Somebody should check on Kala, but I'm not sure if anyone has the bandwidth for that.
I tried a little bit
Are we
ago.
all just gonna cycle through until someone gets it right?
I mean, hey, if it comes down to a roll, I have nothing to throw at it. I mean, not that that's any reason to not go talk to a friend, but, you know.
Again, if it's anyone, I just don't think it should be me.
Might be, hey, you might be the only one worth, you know, going and talking to Kala. She may have no idea what happened.
She didn't see big monster Florian, so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. I meant more the assuring her that reality was real and then it very much not being. Yeah.
I mean, that might make you the best person to talk to her about it.
Yeah, but she might be mad at me. I'm a big, strong boy, but only physically. My insides are soft.
Okay. So, sounds like nobody goes to check up on Kala?
I mean, Amari would have make the rounds to check on everyone, trying to make sure that everyone's safe.
Okay. As you disperse, you can see out the viewports on the bridge that you're on a military base. There are lots of soldiers and defense force folk about. No one's trying to get inside the Tiresian. It's just you are square in the middle of an airfield full of fighter craft, and there are soldiers in the distance, and this is a military base.
And we got a ship full of contraband.
Yeah, whether or not that makes you feel more secure about your current position, That's a personal thought.
I've got matriarch backing. I'm okay.
Yeah, and that's probably a big reason why nobody's searching this ship. As you disperse, and Amari, you begin to move about the ship and check in on individuals. Eventually, you would come to Oswald's room. And knock on the door.
Hello?
Oswald there.
Does not
Amari. You doing good?
Doing great. Oh,
Okay.
He said, like a liar.
Can you just grab a couple of things for me, if you wouldn't mind, since you're checking in?
That's not how check-ins work.
Well, maybe they should. Okay, so I need a couple of things, please. I said please. I think that's important.
Is one of them 12 Loco? Is several
one of the
them
two
12
things.
Loco?
One of the two things is 12 Loco. Yes, it's been a day. It has been a day, Amari. It has been. Oh boy. And then if you could, those sheets of paper that Florian has. You think you could get one of those for me, and maybe some sort of writing implement?
Yes, I can get you like a pen and paper.
Yes, pen. That's what they're called. Yes, excellent.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Anything else?
I know you're busy,
Do you want
so
me to stop and grab you a bite to eat? Anything else?
No, I should be fine. Thank you.
Okay.
I will get all of that stuff later.
Okay. Mari, continuing on, you come to... I don't know if you're also checking in with everybody else.
I mean, if they were up on the bridge, then, that's fine. I don't necessarily need to check in with my wife because just talk to her and Paladin Rolly. Great. Cool. He's
okay.
Being stoic.
Well, they're not even on the ship at this point.
Great. He's being stoic somewhere else.
Yeah, he's following your wife.
Gross. I mean, good.
Technically what he was...
Yeah.
You eventually get to Kala's quarters, and for the second time in as much time, you have a conversation through a closed door as she says, "Yes?
Hey, Kala, it's Amari. You doing okay in there?
Doing fine, yes."
Did you need anything?
There's a long beat. And then she says, "Depends where we are, I suppose."
Well, I mean, we're on Niren. We moved to a different location on planet. I mean, we're on a military base now.
Oh, no. Let me know if we get near a store or something.
A store? I mean, we can get everything we want here. They have a requisitions office.
No, store. No, military tech. But no, that won't do. No.
Okay. Did you need anything specific?
Yes, no. A store. I don't need a store. No. Let me know when we get near a transport depot. Yes. Like a public one.
Sure.
When do you think we'll get near one of those?
Not entirely sure.
Okay.
On that.
Well,
do you want me to just keep you posted?
Yes, if you could give me the address when we get there.
Sure.
Or one that's close by?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Mm.
The door never opens.
Sociable bunch.
As you continue down the corridor, eventually you're passing the not huge, but large bank of communications and scanning equipment that has filled up one of the weapons bays on one of the sides of the ships. It's mostly just like a big bank of consoles with a couple of stools in front of it that are meant to be like sat down in, and like that classic like leaning over a big piece of technology with an earphone on and listening to the scans and watching the monitors. You see kind of moving from monitor to monitor on the screens, the projection of Mara's little girl form kind of moving between the monitors. She'll like kind of dance through one, kind of glancing around, and then like pop into another, and it almost looks like she's moving between like comic book frames, but it's the screens that are on this bank of technology. And as you are walking past, she'll wave.
How you doing, Mara?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amari. That was scary.
Yeah, that was a bit of a rough one.
Mm-hmm.
You say you're doing fine, but are you doing like everything's okay? You're feeling well after all that?
Oh, yes. Several runtimes have passed. I'm fully recovered. Thank you, though.
Do you know what happened?
Oh, yes. We were invaded by several Metanet presences. I believe there was at least 3 mortal divers and a Fey incursion that disrupted my processes some.
Oh. Well, I mean, you handled it like a champ, so, good job.
Shay helped a lot.
Yeah, Shay does that. They're very helpful.
I would like to warn you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
One of the presences that was here, I think I may have hurt them.
Oh. How so?
Well, I've never defended the systems of the Tiresian before. I was uncertain as to the precise nature of how I should do so when we first came under attack.
Okay. Well,
I may have caused neural damage to whoever was on the receiving end of my first defensive measures.
that is, that could be a lot to think about. The important thing
Oh,
is
should
that,
I be thinking about it?
well, it's kind of a big topic. It's kind of hard to process. A lot of people go through training to learn how to, process something like that, and you just kind of got flung straight into it. So, it can be a lot. How do you? Obviously, you wouldn't have brought it up if you were completely, unworried by it.
This is a fair critique. My initial concern had to do with retribution on the part of whoever it is connected to the person I might have hurt, but underlying subroutines would indicate that it was taking up quite a bit of my processing power.
Yeah. I mean, you're safe, and we're all safe. So, in that regard, we thank you. And we're glad that you're okay. So I think that's
Fascinating.
probably the first thing you should think about.
This is true. It was not the first thing I thought about, but I will consider it now.
Yeah. It is a completely normal thing to think about that. So.
I have always said that I crave new experiences. Is it normal that some new experiences are bad?
Totally. Not everything's going to be fun or exciting. Some of them are going to be harsh, and rough, and things you don't want to do ever again.
I cannot say that I do not want to do it ever again. It may become necessary in the future.
Well, there's a difference between want and need. So
This is true. Thank you, Amari.
yeah, I hope you don't ever have to do it again. But if it does come down to it, you got this.
Oh, I am perfectly capable of killing an individual who has invaded our ship's systems.
Thank you.
Amari's slightly taken aback by that. Just like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you move on?
Yeah. Just like, well, I mean, if I could give you a hug, I would.
Fascinating. You're perfectly capable of doing this if you meta-dive into the ship's systems.
Maybe when Shay's around, I'm still... Tux is one thing. Metadiving is a little bit more.
I see. Very well.
Well, hang in there, kid. And then
Give her a wave and head on to the next one.
Shay, Florian, what are you doing?
What am I doing? Oh, I think I said this last time maybe, but I want to I guess I know when I was scrubbing earlier, I was mostly looking for Mara. So I want to kind of like run diagnostics on the ship systems, since we were invaded by 4 different things, and one of them was probably a Fae presence. So I want to just go through the systems and see if there's any bad stuff left over from that, and get it out.
Quick diagnostics would indicate that no, nothing seems to be out of place. All of your ship systems seem to be functioning normally. And whatever the attackers were trying to do to your local networks failed. You can tell based on incoming signatures, call sets, that there were 4 presences that invaded the ship. One was almost immediately ejected, you assume by Mara. The other 2 that you personally dealt with were vanished of their own accord, and one that seemed to have some kind of tenuous connection to Mara that you dealt with, but eventually left. There was a 4th signal coming from that same position that you didn't really even engage with, and you really are only discovering it now. It seemed as though there were like 2 signals coming from the same position. Going through the data, you're pretty certain that these were divers working for Red's dogs. One of which was engaged directly with Mara, and the other of which was trying to shut down the ship systems. The one that was like shutting down the ship systems and like cutting off communications, you personally stopped.
Yeah.
The one that was tangling with Mara, you eventually let her overcome it. Though again, you're a little bit antsy as to like why she wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
And that last one that basically just vanished as soon as you started looking into it, that is of unknown origins. But you know that it only got into the ship after the IFF was turned off.
Yeah. Did it, like, was there any not identifying information, but like any kind of footprint left by that presence? Like if I go through, whatever equivalent would be, like going through the keystrokes of of what that presence was going through, looking at.
Give me an Aether Tech roll.
Okay.
Or an Advanced Tech.
Sense.
This would probably be Hacker Voice.
I'm in.
Tactic. Careful or clever, probably.
Yeah. I'm gonna use clever because like I wanna. Did I go all in? I don't remember if I went all in last time. I think I did.
I don't think
No.
so.
So-
And since technically we haven't hit downtime yet.
If you wanted to punch it right now, you could.
I don't see why not.
Go hard.
Okay.
So let's see. I have 8 in my pool.
Mm-hmm.
2, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Hacker Voice I'm in is also a D10. I know that this wouldn't be it because it's not like us in the scene technically still, but I'm gonna take it out. Okay, I'm gonna roll my tactical talent first.
Please do.
Alright, that is a 15.
This is one of those, the higher you roll, the more information you'll get kind of rolls.
And boo. Okay, so that is 10, 15. 15 plus 12. Well, okay. So 15 plus 15 is 30. Plus 12 is 42. 45.
Okay, that is over godlike. As you completely scrub the systems of the Tiresian, you basically put together a reverse footprint of exactly how this whole scenario broke down.
Yeah.
The first individual to infiltrate the Tiresian systems was a diver from a ship called the Minosian Fall. You were able to figure out that with this. You can backtrace their call set to that ship. You also know that whatever it was that Mara did killed the person on the other side. After that happened, everybody else barreled onto the Tiresian. The 2 metadivers that came from Red's dogs attacked the ship in tandem and attempted to shut down its communications and ground it, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Mara stopped them from grounding it. It's very clear now that she was holding herself back in the defense of the ship, thinking that her first defensive maneuver maybe went a little bit overboard. Nothing was actually stopping her from absolutely annihilating these people other than herself. What exactly her thought process was there, you don't know. That's not what you can put together here. You can just tell that like nothing was actually interfering with her per se. The Fey presence, and that is absolutely what it is, that invaded the ship, inspected every inch of the ship's systems, top to bottom.
Yes.
Whoever this was got a complete layout of the Tiresian, everything inside of it, all of the modifications you've made. Whoever has this information now will be able to track your ship even though you have a Formian generator.
Bruh.
That information is probably... You don't know where that information ended up, so exactly who's going to be able to do that, you don't know.
Yeah.
What you do know is that buried in the sanitation systems of all places, in some of the junk code that controls the waste recycling systems on board the ship, you find what is the diver equivalent of a calling card. It is a little impression or a mark that is left by black hat divers when they want to just prove that they got into a system and leave a little, effectively an emoji there to prove I got in and there's nothing you could do to stop me. It is a luminescent blue and silver windmill.
Does that mean anything to me?
Not off the top of your head, no. I don't know if Shay knows enough about hacker culture.
I mean, I do dress like one, so like you'd think.
Yeah.
The first step is fashion.
Listen, I didn't go straight to the Cole Foundation from Western is all. There's a few cycles where nobody knows what I was doing.
Do you have any knowledge talents in
I don't know.
Divers can't
I just
or yeah.
I just have a D6.
Roll me that D6 real quick.
Okay. Am I just a poser, you guys? Who knows?
You certainly live on the edges of that culture,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
It's a 5.
It's a 5. Okay. So that would bump us up to 50.
Oh,
total.
shit.
Which is what I was looking for.
Damn. Oh, perfect.
There is a legendary diver that is made waves through the metanet, mostly by causing intellectual symposiums held online to turn to fistfights, essentially. Obviously not literally, because they're all happening online, but this person is made their reputation by fucking with people who think they know better. Or at least from the diver's perspective. It's kind of an anti-intelligence movement of a sort. Movement's not the right word, but like this particular hacker has made their bones and their reputation in certain black hat circles for just like, oh, they're having this meeting about this certain like important cultural moment that these historians are discussing. What if somebody slipped in there and started like making a rhetorical argument that eventually led to them screaming at each other and making personal insults? That is what this person is known for.
I'm gonna go fucking feral.
They go by the name Ariel.
Oh my god.
And I think it is there that we are going to have to end tonight's session. And we'll find out exactly what all of that means next time. Because as always, you can find us online at MatcomRPG on Twitter and Instagram. You can also email us at materialcomponentsrpg@gmail.com. We always love hearing from all of our listeners.
You can find me on Twitter at CryOutOlivia. I am always there talking about D&D and other RPGs and also just a lot of other nerd stuff. So come hang out.
You can find me on Twitter at Elliot C. Lewis. I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, doing a lot of tabletop RPG and other fan art. You can also support me on Patreon and Ko-fi. Links to both of those are in my Twitter profile.
You can find me at The Readamus on Instagram and Twitter, where I post jokes and lots of photos of nature, so come check it out.
And you cannot find me on social media, but what you can do is support our show by rating and reviewing it on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Please, please, please do so.
Indeed, and finally, you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at MKGorgoni, where I'm always happy to talk about all things material components. But as always, the world is chaos, so please, be kind to each other. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.